all my years of going to any parade in any state, I've never experienced a house like we have planned for people to try to experience this house. There are so many elements. I really hope that people do what they can to make it to this house, not just selfishly, but I just think it's something special. I can say objectively, it's something special.
Welcome to the Curious Builder Podcast. I'm Mark Williams, your host. Today is our Monday episode, and I've got Mysa Oholendt in studio, just 5 minutes from Mysa Hus. Hey, Mel.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
So I appreciate you coming over because we are in the middle of our third and final photo shoot. We will get into it. Don't worry, people. We are crazy. That's fine. Of our Mysa Hus home. Many of you listeners likely know about our spec home that we're doing with Curious Builder. It's a partnership between Oho Interiors and Mark Williams Custom Homes. And we have past episodes on Mysa Hus. You can check those. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 of them. Melissa's full story, I think, was back in June or July. We did the full Oho story a while ago. We'll do another one. But truthfully, I called Melissa because my editor said, hey, you don't have any Monday episodes. I've been so focused on getting this house ready for the tour that I've just sort of cleared my schedule of any podcast interviews. And I always like to have something. I could have run some old content or skipped, but that's just not. You could have made the call. So I called you yesterday on my way home and I said, Melissa, do you have any interest in...
No. You said, am I crazy? You can tell me no. I'm like, uh-oh, where are we going?
That's like a Minnesota polite way of like giving you multiple exits. But yeah, it was basically like, do we take a time out of it? We literally have 6 people at the house right now doing our final photo shoot, day 3. And but anyway, let's get over here over lunch and let's just talk about what's happening at Mysa Hus because so many people are aware of it, talking about it. And so we thought this episode would be really helpful. We have 2 more episodes planned. One will be with Carl, the architectural designer, and ourselves in about a month where the house is done. We've had thousands of people through the house and we can just talk about how people interact with it, their special moments. And then we thought, 2 or 3 months from there, we're going to do lessons learned because we have learned
so much,
a lot of stuff of things we shouldn't have done. Like anyone, you see as I'm sitting there now while we're doing all the photo shoots, all I see is all the things like, oh, that could have been different. And we're the only ones likely to see this, of course.
Yeah.
So today's episode is really, we're going to walk through 60 days before the end, 30 days before the end, 7 days before the end, and then showtime. So the day that this episode airs will be Monday, June 1st, which that day actually, we have Channel 5 is coming to do a TV interview, a blower door test, which is sexy. We've got, we're doing a drone shot through the house with a flying drone. And then we have someone interested in the house. We're doing a preview tour. Then Tuesday, we're doing our influencer event. I think we have 100 people showing up for the influencer event.
Yep.
Then we have the Realtor Open on Wednesday, where it'll be the first time we disclose the price to the public. And then 2 days later is the start of the Artisan Home Tour. And it's really the victory lap. At that point, all the hard work has been done.
It better be done.
It better be done. So we're going to dial back from both of a designer's point of view and a builder's point of view and just talk about 60, 30, 70, and showtime, like our different stress levels. So maybe we'll start with that. What in the last 60 days, what event has been the most stressful for you?
Yeah. 60 days prior, we're always in install planning mode. So we're thinking about, all the construction finishes. Everything has really been specified. And in the ideal world, everything's been specified. We're really just there every other week kind of managing site decisions and any questions.
And everything's in the warehouse just waiting.
Everything's, of course, just waiting for us in the warehouse because we got lots to talk about there too. But we are planning for install. So our brains are fully on furniture and making sure that furniture has been ordered. It's, on its way there. If it's not, like what timelines we're looking at. But then also, like you mentioned, like there still will be, because we are who we are and we do specify a lot of things from Europe. Inevitably, we're waiting on some light fixtures like we were until the 11th hour of install. And so we're navigating all of those things. Our procurement team is managing that and trying to figure out where those things are. Are they going to be here in time? Are they going to, will the companies fulfill their promises? It starts to get, I would say for us, it's probably a little less stressful on the scale of things. 60 days out still feels like we have a lot of time to be able to manage and navigate those things. But we're still starting to ramp up on the stress level for sure.
So from my point of view, I see 60 days out. I see it's actually my least favorite time of the build because I see, well, first of all, it's coming all together, which I do like.
Yeah.
But all I see is the 1,000 things that have to be done. And for this particular home, I was never worried about it being done for the Artisan Home Tour, which is what most builders are concerned about. We got real excited a year ago because I've done the Artisan Tour and Parade Homes now for, well, almost 20 years. And we have, most builders in general, you're done like the day before. Like green side is going up on the sod right before people come in. It's to the 9th hour. And I just hate that. You don't always get a choice because sometimes a client will start a home later and it just is what it is. Permitting, slow, something delayed, whatever. But if you don't have a deadline, you can't meet an expectation. So having a deadline, even if it's an artificial one, is helpful. Mine to the team a year ago was I wanted to be done 2 to 3 weeks early before the tour to do all of our photo shoots beforehand. So I could shockingly use those photos for marketing because I want to sell the home. And then 2, you get, you're more likely to get free media like TV, which we are getting now because we are done. Most of our peers are not done. You know, they will be sweeping out the garage and painting the garage the moment, an hour or two. I've literally seen landscapers like landscaping a yard when you show up to a house. It happens. And spring, we've been very lucky in Minnesota this year for our weather. It has hardly rained at all, which we actually need the rain, but it has allowed us to landscape at full haste. So with that in mind, the 60 days for me are very stressful because of all the things we have to do. I think about 3 weeks ago is when my peak anxiety of getting stuff done for the photo shoot. So my stress was around the photo shoots. That's my point of view. When you have furniture move in, let's talk about the actual day of furniture move in. And even some of the characters on your team, like some are like, I live for this. And that's not your favorite part.
100%. I actually really hate install days, weeks. And only because they really bring to light all of the things that maybe there's been an internal mistake, maybe there was an external mistake. All of our furniture is going to receiving warehouses before it arrives. So oftentimes we're not getting actual eyes on it until that day when, Crown Warehouse or a receiving warehouse shows up with the furniture. And sometimes you're like, that didn't get executed the way we thought it would get executed. And so there's just, and that happens times infinity. I mean, we're often putting hundreds, if not thousands, Mysa Hus thousands of pieces into a home at a very high value. And so figuring out, this one, Mysa had the stress point of the photo shoots and the artisan tour piece, that pressure of it. But when we're doing it for a client, there's even more pressure because you're like, people have to live in this space. With Mysa Hus, that was a little bit alleviated, but we still had the pressure, which we don't normally have, of the artisan tour and of the photo shoots. But I would say that I hate them, but there are members of my team who are like, if I didn't get to do install days, I would never do this job. And so we have such a disparity between us in terms of, and I think everyone kind of hits somewhere in the middle there of those two extremes. And so for some people, it's a really stressful time. For some people, they're thriving. And so it just really becomes, we had all 10 members of our team at install for 2 days because we condensed our install to make sure we could meet the deadline of the first photo shoot. And so it was chaotic. We found out that there was a sectional, $25,000 sectional that was ordered in the wrong size. It ended up all working out, but man, those are stressful days for me.
It's funny. I think this is an obvious statement, but we all have to go through it. I think being able to pivot your emotional swings and being able to pivot some of your expectations. And this would probably show up in the lessons learned episode, a couple of months from now, of all the things that we would likely do different. And I think having some grace with ourselves to realize this is a prototype. Yeah. But honestly, every home is a prototype. High-end custom homes, everyone is a one-off. Nobody ever does multiple versions of the exact same thing. Yeah. And so we're always learning. And you'd think after this much time, you would learn. But we're human. There's mistakes made. Sometimes it's not even truly a mistake. It's just an observation. You've literally built something that has never been built before. And then you walk in and you're like, you know what? I think if I did this again, I would have it 14 inches deeper or whatever it might be. Yeah. And even with the best software, walk your plans or 3D modeling and all that stuff, there's nothing quite like being actually in the space and how does it feel? And there's a number of things that change that: furniture, color, textures, all the wonderful things, of course, that we love. Yeah. But I think also realizing this is real. Yeah. And then some things that we think are going to be an issue are not.
Aren't.
And
Yeah.
the one I'm speaking of is the master or the owner's bathroom.
Yeah.
I thought for sure for 9 months, one of my biggest mistakes plan wise was I wish that owner's bathroom was about 4 feet deeper. And when it finally was unveiled, I'm like,
It feels
great. I don't think anyone's even going to say anything.
No.
And I thought for sure everyone was going to be like, well, man, they really missed the boat on this. And now I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. No, I think one thing that has been so, you and I talked about this, but so interesting for me is that because you and I have the relationship that we do, I've been able to kind of ride your, like in both of our stress points. Like I'm understanding when you're stressed. But because I am on such a different perspective, I haven't understood what it is that is stressing you out at that time. And so I feel like that's been the most interesting part of this project is kind of understanding there were trigger points for you that would become really stressful, like the light fixtures that just full disclosure, there were some light fixtures that we had ordered from the UK that were promised on a timeline. They were ordered in December. And then 2 weeks ago, we were like, they were promised that they were going to ship and we weren't going to have any issues with customs or tariffs or any of those things that end up becoming an issue. I literally got the CEO of that lighting company on the phone. Did I tell you that?
No.
I contacted him on LinkedIn and I threw out a Hail Mary of like, hey, we are working with your team. They promised us something. It's not being delivered. I'm throwing out a Hail Mary here because we have a home that's on the tour and it's being photographed and we are all spending a lot of money and time to make this happen. And he called me.
Wow.
And like he made it happen for us. Now, unfortunately, 2 of those light fixtures accidentally got thrown away. Not by no one's fault, just the chaos of an install. They got tossed. So we still had to problem solve for that. But he really there were 14 light fixtures that we were still waiting on as of when we were installing. And that install day, we were on top of electricians, and which is fine. Like those things happen. And I think the thing about Mysa is like every trade was just so wonderful and it was such a good experience. But like those are things that you just cannot predict at the 60-day mark that like you're going to be at that point where you're on top of each other.
And I think it's interesting. Like, we had a couple things. We have an international photographer who's currently on a 3-day shoot at the house right now as we're playing hooky for this podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
Patrick's amazing.
Shout out, Patrick.
Yeah. We had Taylor Hall for locally here in Minnesota. He was our first photo shoot.
Love Taylor.
And, that was the first one because we knew we'd make Patrick's, but Taylor's was actually the most stressful because he was the first one up.
Yeah.
And you want to respect people's time. They book out. Like, I understand their currency is, hey, we booked them out 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do. But it's like, we're installing 16 light fixtures, while you guys are styling and staging. And it's funny because you and I know the full story. And I don't actually blame any of the subs or even people on your team because there are people on your team that would be like, why are they still doing light fixtures? And then the electrician would be like, well, if we had these 2 weeks ago, it's like you and I know the whole backstory, but we still sort of have to like navigate all of that. And we're not always at our best. There are times that I'm just like, there are easier ways to build a house.
Yeah.
But there's none that are more rewarding and more fulfilling. And so it's part of that process. It really is.
I agree. And I think that despite best planning scenarios, no matter what, there's just going to be things that are not quite, and not quite right or that need to be adjusted after they go in or you couldn't have predicted. And I'm thinking about the metal doors in particular, like these insane, beautiful custom metal doors that Mark and I sat in the house for days with. And then suddenly, I think it was like last Friday, we were kind of staring at them and Mark was like, do you see that? And I'm like, no, I don't see anything. And we found out we needed to add an extra piece of trim there because there was like a gap that no one really could have predicted just by the way that the doors had to be installed and leveled. And it's such an easy solution, but it still has to get done between now and the tour happening.
Well, and I think like painting, right, is a never ending. It like literally never ends. There's always some painting to be done.
Shout out, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, you're doing a great job. But I think the other thing too is like a lot of times. Like I had a painter come up to me, not Ryan, but one of his painters, and he goes, wow, you really see everything. And
you do.
And I take it as a compliment actually. And I don't have a false, it's not a false judgment's the wrong word. It's not an accusation. I'm trying to remove anything. I think that's what makes us, you and I have talked about this, is what makes us, I think, good at our jobs and our career and why we're able to execute homes of this caliber. And I did tell the painter, like, I don't expect perfection because I don't think it's attainable. Perfection, in fact, if a client ever says the word perfect, I actually have this pretty dad moment with them where I'm like, okay, this is a prototype. It doesn't mean that the pursuit of getting it perfect isn't worthy. It's just that I don't believe in perfection because we're not perfect. And one thing that I've really come to embrace with this home in particular is Mysa Hus is meant to be authentic. And the whole mantra, the whole story is it's meant to patina, to age, to move, to because we're humans.
To be
like we change.
cozy.
Yeah. And so I want the home. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But if we can make it better, I don't think perfect. I like the word better. I can make this experience better. I want someone that comes through to love it and to feel the energy and the care that we put into it. And it is the details. It really is.
It is the details. I even think it goes down to, yesterday we were photographing the living room space and that fireplace that, again, future conversations about how insane that fireplace was to come together. But we had the photographer said, could we get a fire in the fireplace? And I was like, well, we're going to need to ask Mark about that. And so I texted you and you're like, let's burn it. Let's get it going. And then afterwards we were like, oh, soot. There is a natural patina that happens the first time you use a fireplace. And you had asked me, like, do you think we need to
clean it?
And I was like, no, I think that it feels so much better now that it has a little patina. And I'm so glad that Patrick wanted to take that shot with the fire because I think it feels so much more authentic now. And no one's going to be afraid of doing it the first time like they would when they move into
we've already done
house.
it.
We did it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
A shout out to Renee Keller. She has that great line, burn the candles and use the china. It's like, burn the fireplace. Because like literally, Mark, because you're like, we got to ask Mark. I was like, I got the torch. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, when you're in a home, and I think this is anyone who's sat in a model home or a tour home during the duration, like you just keep a list because when you're sitting in a home, you see hundreds of things that you don't see when you're walking through because you're sitting there all day. Like I typically, picking up my kids every day at 5:00. So it means I usually leave the office at 4:20 and I'll make phone calls on the way, but I'm not usually there in the evening. So light. Natural light does wild things, right? The morning light. So we were there this morning at 6:45 and that light looks different and you see different things. And then in that you have the bright sun of like noon, 1:00 sun, high sun, and then you have the evening sun. And I think what's kind of nice about that is for builders and architects and designers to be aware that their clients experience the home at all hours, but as professionals, we often don't.
Yeah.
And so I don't really have a epiphany about that other than just consider that when a client calls you and says, hey, I see this thing. A lot of it is the time of day.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I think that's one of the benefits. You and I have both had some early mornings and late nights there just in the last 2 weeks of install and photo shoots and being able to experience the house in ways that we might not otherwise get to. I mean, I think it was last week I was there late one night kind of cleaning up after everyone trying to get prepped for the photo shoot. And I had all the lights on, or at least in a cozy way. I had overhead lights on. People, believe it or not, I had overhead lights on. But we had the lights on and we were working with Admit One on the lighting. And it was beautiful. It was cozy. It was set. And I had them on. It was like 9:30 at night. It was really late. And then all of a sudden they all turned off. And I was like, hello, like just a girl alone in a house. I don't know if the doors are locked, what's happening. And I found out the next day, I mentioned it to Mark the morning after. I was like, hey, I don't know if like there's something wrong with the lighting or they just all turned off on me. And what had happened is that, one of the Admit One guys was looking at his phone and noticed that all the lights were on. And in a moment of care was like, oh, someone must have left them on and forgot to turn them off and turned them all off. It was just one of those moments where I was like, this is a really interesting, just because the team cares so much. But I also love, sorry, that was like a long-winded way of saying I got to experience the house in the evening and I never get to do that. And it was really, really special. And actually, like, we joked that I slept over a lot there. I did bring a toothbrush there. That was for different reasons. But I love that house and I want to spend time in there. And being able to be there outside of normal working hours was just a delight.
This episode is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. I've used Pella for 21 years as the exclusive window company on every one of my builds. When people ask me who I trust for windows and doors, it's Pella every time. Their craftsmanship, their innovation, the top tier service make them a no-brainer for any custom home builder or designer who demand the best. Whether you're designing something bold or building something with timeless elegance, Pella has you covered. They're also the only window company that has a lifetime warranty on all of their windows. I've gotten to know all their people at Pella Corporate, as well as locally here at Pella Northland. I'm proud to call them our partners and our friends. Visit Pella.com to learn more and connect with your local reps today. For more information, you can also listen to episode 1, where I interview the Pella Northland founders, as well as episode 109, where we talk all about their latest innovation with the Steady Set window. I love the idea because the tour is going to be on Saturdays and Sundays too.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I normally bike Sunday mornings with a group of guys. I like the idea that I would bike out here
And then shower.
and that I would shower, have a change of clothes,
Okay.
work the home, and then bike back. I'm not sure Mrs. Williams is going to be good with an hour extra commute on the bike, but I sort of like the idea that honestly, we don't know who's going to buy the home.
Yeah.
I love, because there's so much of my personality and lifestyle wrapped up into some of the design choices and the ethos of it. I just like the idea that I would maybe be experiencing in a way that maybe a future homeowner would, that they would bike to and from the home, the wellness studio. I probably won't use the sauna, although the sauna is magical. That little fiber optic starlit sky is just incredible. And I think we're doing that photo shoot tonight, actually.
Yeah.
Patrick was saying he was going to shoot it. Is there anything that you've been pleasantly surprised in terms of like, you have your early preseason favorites of the house, but now that you've sort of been working in it, you're like, I think this would be a moment where this is a place that I would sit and spend more time in? Or is there any sort of, you love to use the word moments of delight. Is there any, you already knew there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
Are there any that have kind of surprised you in a way that you didn't realize?
That's a really good question. I feel, Kate and I really tackled the design of this house together. And so we split rooms and we kind of tackled our own rooms. I ended up doing all of the furniture myself. And so I had a very direct hand in that. But there was one room, the primary bathroom, where I just didn't have a handle on kind of what Kate's design really was for that. Like I knew what it was, but I hadn't painted it in my head. And seeing that come to life over the last few months, but even on that final stretch where I remember standing, and both Kate and I did this, we stood in the bathroom and we were like, I don't know if this plaster color was the right color. But then the shower doors went in and we were like, that is the piece that put everything together. And we were having that as designers, this like moment of doubt. And so it gave me another level of empathy for our clients who go through that moment of doubt where like Kate had the full vision. I had a moderate amount of vision for it. But our clients would not have had that vision, and we were having this moment of doubt. So it gave me another level of empathy. I really loved that moment. I will say also the living room itself, like there is, the ethos of who Oho is really to make sure that the architecture of the house feels really interesting without any layer pieces of furniture, styling, decor, art, any of that. We want to make sure the architecture feels beautiful and construction finishes feel beautiful. So even if nothing else is there, it feels interesting. But having that added layer of furniture made it sing for me in a way, like the Mora clock and the gingham sofas and the armchair fabric that feels like it could have been needlepoint and these antique cricket tables. And it just like it makes it sing in a way that makes the house make sense for me of like, this is the place where a family sits around in a conversational way, but can sit and pull a coffee table book or a book off the table and sit and read and enjoy what's happening around them without having to participate. It's my favorite place to be. If I on the tour, you're probably going to find me sitting there maybe a little bit because I just love it so much. It feels so good in that space to be surrounded, but not feel like you have to be in the middle of everything.
I've sort of enjoyed, I always knew the breakfast nook or the breakfast area was going to be my favorite, but seeing the plaid, the bench, and while I thought I would sit in it in a different spot, sitting in it how, like you and I have been working together over the last couple of days during the photo shoots. Yeah. And, I feel like we're little kids just like, on our homework together and, kind of chit-chatting while we're working. But like, it's just a very comfortable place to be. Mm-hmm. And, whether it's formal dining, informal dining, I found that like, that's just a room I want to stay in. Mm-hmm. I just love looking back and the light. So that I knew it would be special, but actually working in the space and feeling it, even though I haven't had a meal there, it's a space that it feels very like a refuge because it's the way it's sort of encapsulated and cozy. Yeah. It just for me really feels like that's a spot I would spend a lot of time in.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed too over the last couple weeks of being there every single day, which has been, honestly, I loved every minute of it. But I've noticed that both sets of our teams find different reasons to be there. And like, you know,
interesting.
Angie will come. Obviously, Mike's there because he's finishing up things. I don't, you know, poor guy gets my to-do list via text.
He gets all my to-do list too.
But even members of my team will be like, hey, yeah, I'll come and like drop off that thing. Or, hey, yeah, like no problem. I'll swing by and go do that thing. And I think there's something about that house that kind of calls to people. Once you get to experience it, it really calls to you in a way that I think is really unique. And I don't want to toot our own horns because that's not the intent. I just think there's a loveliness there that kind of attracts people that I've found really like a proud mom kind of sitting back and watching that.
It's funny you say that, the proud mom thing. I'm debating how much to tell people when they walk in the house versus letting them experience the house without me guiding them through.
Yeah.
Because if it's a one-on-one, like I could spend an hour and a half going through everything. But there's also part of me that just wants to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like we do have a lot of our super fans that come multiple times. I suspect that we'll have lots of people that will come more than once. Because a lot of times what I've noticed over the tours over the years is the missus will come through, and especially if they're serious about buying, and then they'll it's kind of like the scouting mission, and then they want to bring their husband or other people through or their parents or whatever the reason is. I was like, people will come back more than once, and it's really interesting because the app now that the Artisan Tour has, you can actually see what percentage of people are repeat visitors. Oh. And so it'll be really interesting to see what percentile that do that. But
is there anything you're worried about with the tour?
Not at all.
Okay.
That was a very fast answer.
Sorry.
Yeah, like why would you offend me? No, I'm really excited. A lot of people, you talk about different temperaments for people, and you know this about me, and so does the audience, but like I'm an extreme extrovert. I love people. So the idea, like honestly, my favorite part is the iteration, the very beginning, the design, getting the team together. Yeah. Building it is not actually my favorite part. And then the end, showing it off. So like
that middle part.
The middle part, the 90, I don't hate it. I'm just saying it's a means to the end, right? Yeah. But like now that we're all done, like my energy, I'm really good at getting people's emotions up, and like, because I'm emotional, like I'm very excited. So like I can't wait to get people excited about the house and watch their experience. Yeah. But it's a little bit akin to like having your kids on the playground and watching other kids play with your kids, or other parents interact with your kid. And just like the other day, it was just kind of this beautiful, like every parent would like this. How like your kids are always better for other people than they are for you.
Oh yeah.
And so my kids were at my aunt's for the weekend, because Mel and I went out to do a little mountain trip together just to get away before the tour starts here. And my aunt sent this beautiful text to my wife, and she said, your kids are so well behaved. They bring their dinner up to their lunch silverware or whatever plates up to the sink, put it away. They'd never do that at home. They said please and thank yous. They cleaned up, and they're so self-sufficient. She goes, your kids are amazing. And my wife and I were just like, wow.
That's so sweet.
It's you want to hear that.
Yeah.
B, they don't do that at home. Yeah. But my point in saying that is like, I want to see how people interact with Mysa, and just kind of out of curiosity, like, what do you like? I'm just generally interested to hear their feedback. And I'm actually fine with controversy. Some people, I've talked to builders and designers, like some people don't want to hear the negative comments. It kind of rolls off my back. It doesn't. I know it's amazing. I know we've done great work, and it's not going to be for everyone. There will be plenty of people that are like, even people on my team, Joel, my controller, went through. He's like, the quality is outstanding. He's like, and he's someone who doesn't BS anybody. He's so black and white. I appreciate Joel that way. Perfect for the controller. He's like, but the style's not, I'm modern. This is not my house. There's too many patterns, too many things. And that's one of the main reasons I chose you, other than you're a phenomenal person. Like, I liked that traditional layering. There will be people that can't see past that, but it was interesting. His point of view and his wife's was like, the home quality is unlike anything I've ever seen. The furniture isn't for us, but that doesn't matter. That can always be changed, right? And so I welcome feedback, because I'm just interested in how people receive it. Yeah. It's no different than cars or people, or honestly anything. Yeah. I don't like fake. I don't want people to come in and just give you platitudes. Oh, it's great. Like that. There's nothing there. That doesn't help me. Yeah. I know it's great. Yeah. What do you like? What did you experience? What don't you like? Yeah. What can we change in the future? Yeah. Am I interested in changing it for you? Maybe, maybe not. That's the decision I get to make. anyway, that's how I get excited about for the tour because I like to engage people and see, what their response is.
Interesting. I think the thing that I am most excited about, I feel like I've gone to tour homes in the past and felt like I couldn't sit down anywhere or like actually kind of have a moment to breathe within a house. And maybe that's just not what they're meant for. That's very possible as well. I think the thing I will feel like is the biggest compliment is if I notice that people are sitting on the furniture. And maybe that needs to be like a welcome kind of moment for us to tell people that they can do that. But I think that it's sort of like that exhale of like I can sit here and I can just spend a minute just sitting here instead of feeling like I've got to run through this tour house because I got to get to the next one. Like I think that will be the biggest compliment that I ever
That's
feel.
funny you say that. I have this idea. I haven't brought this out to the tour yet, and you have to have a really experienced person to do this. I think I've maybe mentioned this to you, but I think the home is best experienced with fewer people in the home. It's not that the home can't handle a party or it can't handle a large crowd. There's details on details on details on details. And if you blow through it, even if you're an experienced builder, you're just going to miss everything.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of me, because usually when you have, so we have a trolley, which is, we'll talk maybe next about the different experiences that people are going to get, because I think that's entertaining. I like that part of it. But whenever you have a shuttle, it slows down traffic, because when people are looking at the book, they're like, I have to get out of my car, I have to get into a shuttle. I'm just going to skip this one unless there's a special reason.
Yeah.
So one of the special reasons is, of course, the home, the area, Cottagewood store, the Cottagewood area. But then this open air trolley is just kind of fun.
Yeah.
So you've got air blowing through. It's like you're in the streets of San Francisco. But by having a trolley, it helps. We're going to get traffic in waves. So that bus can only hold like 20, 30 people. Yeah. So you're going to get a wave, and then they come through and they come in. But there's a part of me that wants to have someone at the front door, somebody like Angie or my friend Susan, who helps us out, that really can read body language, with the idea is that they would engage people in conversation outside in the driveway.
Yeah.
And I don't know what our signal is going to be, but something to the effect of, for the best enjoyment, we're just going to ask you to wait for a few more minutes before you go in. We really want you to be able to walk in and go at your own pace. And right now, something to like kind of basically meter out the flow in which people come.
Yeah.
And we'll see, because I could see some people being like impatient, and in that role, you sort of have to navigate it very carefully.
Yeah.
But I think also we have the coffee cart there. We have live music. So we have other things for people to do, while they're waiting. And so how you experience the house does matter. Yeah. So anyway, just kind of see what people do with it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, it'll be interesting. I don't think I've ever, in all my years of going to any parade in any state, I've never experienced a house like we have planned for people to try to experience this house. So I think it'll be maybe a little uncomfortable for people from the perspective of like, there's so many elements to it that we like, the QR codes and the, maybe the pacing of people. And, I think it'll be really interesting, but I really hope that people do what they can to make it to this house, not just selfishly, but I just think it's something special. I can say objectively, it's something special.
There's you touched on it, and I think we've mentioned before, but you have this great term, moments of delight. And so you and Carl and I recorded our own voices, like 90 seconds or less. We have 22 little QR codes around the house so that you could hear us talk about what's the story behind why we did the fireplace. What's the story behind the brass stars inlaid in the floor? What are the reasons for whatever the plaster and some of the health benefits and things like that? And so it'd be really interesting to see how many people engage on this sort of audio tour. So I think giving different people different things, because you and I can't talk to 6,000 people in that period of time.
Yeah. And some people probably won't want it. They'll just want to experience it how they experience any other tour house, which is great. I think that's what Mysa is going to be so good at offering is the ability for people who do want to dive deeper, they can. If they do want to sit in the house, they can. If they just want to breeze through it, they're welcome to. Like, I think that's a really cool thing.
So let's talk a little bit about photo shoots. I think early on we mentioned we have 3 photo shoots. I think people are very curious, including myself. We did 3 photo shoots, and the reason being is we have 3 different objectives. Yeah. And I think, without going into too much detail, the first one is to have photos to obviously use in marketing. And we have a lot of brand partners. This particular home, I think, has 32 brand partners. And so a lot of our responsibilities in exchange for the goods that we've received and what we've done with it, like their marketing departments are going to want these digital assets to market. And so we have to deliver that, obviously, as part of our arrangement. We have one photo tour that also is, part of our fees for the Artisan Tour, which is amazing. A lot of builders don't maybe think about marketing the way you and I might. And so having that service and ability is amazing. And we gave them very specific direction for like micro shots or maybe more social clips. So we had a different sort of design. The first one with Taylor was more editorial for us and for our brand partners. And I love different people's eye. I'm such a respecter of the talent. Everyone's eye
sees
is
it
so differently. And I can't wait to see like 3 different shots of a great room and realize that they're totally
completely
different.
Yeah.
I think that, what, I just thought that would be an amazing
kind of
like blog or a post of like why multiple photographers on it. That would actually be really cool, wouldn't it? Seeing the 3 photos next to each other.
It would be cool.
And then of course the last one, the one with Patrick Biller, is we're trying to pursue, publications nationally. And so working those relationships and seeing different stylists at work. So that's why we have 3 different photographers with 3 different agendas.
Yeah. And I think it's been so interesting to see, we had Leah from Creekwood Hill, and then we have Kate Reagan out of Chicago. And both of them beautiful, incredible interior stylists. Seeing how they approach each room, and it's been so interesting to see just like what gets moved, what gets tweaked, what florals they use. It's been a really interesting experience to see how they see the house, because I think you and I have been pretty hands off for both photo shoots in terms of looking at images and being like, yeah, that looks amazing. I think partially because we hired people we could really trust to care for it. But I think also because from a voyeuristic is not the right word, but from a anthropic perspective, it's been so compelling to watch people experience this thing that we've experienced and in their own eyes, and making it look even more beautiful in their own eyes. I think that that's just been such a delight for me personally. I can't speak for you, but it's been so fun.
It's funny. I literally had this conversation with Kate 2 hours ago, the stylist, and I was sitting there and I just asked her, I said, do you get energy out of what you do? Because sometimes work is work and it drains you. And for those of us that are lucky enough that love what you do, doesn't mean it's not hard, but if you get energy, hopefully everyone listening, hopefully you can find something that you can enjoy doing that gives you energy. Not every day is going to be easy. We know that. But I love Kate's response. She goes, I love people. I get to be around people, and I don't have to be in front of a computer all the time. So I get to be in these beautiful homes all over the country. And she's like, I love what I do. And I said, from my point of view, I haven't experienced that many stylists. Leah and pretty much Kate is my experience watching how hard they work.
Oh, so hard.
And it is physically taxing as well. But I love the idea that they're craft, and they see things like, every once in a while someone will throw the courteous, like, Mark, would you like to weigh in on this picture? Like, that's why, I don't think they need my opinion. So I'll walk over and I'm like, it's amazing that some of the photography makes is this even the same house? It looks so much more elevated than the house is elevated.
Yeah.
It's just their gift in lighting and in composition and all the stuff I don't even hardly know to talk about. All I can say is well done.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate watching them work. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah. And I think, we picked people for these, all of the shoots for a very specific purpose, but part of the instruction that I had given them was make sure it feels like people have just left the scene, and they both did that in such different but incredible ways.
Oh, is that why when I went for the owner suite, there's the towel that's kind of thrown over the edge of the sink? Because I could totally see I got to go get the kids, and you throw the towel and you don't hang it up. So that makes more sense.
Yeah, because it leads to that kind of the ethos of what we've had for Mysa, which is really that we don't want it to feel perfect. It should feel lived in. It should feel like someone can come and have a glass of red wine and not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm worried about staining the marble. Or, it really is meant for someone to come in, put their toothbrush down and live. And honestly, I have a toothbrush there if someone wants it. It's truly unused. It's fine. It's a long story. It's a long story. But I think it is one of those moments that we get to see the reality of this brand that you have created, really leaning into that cozy lived in feel and see it in photo form, but get to experience it and know that it feels similar. and wonderful.
When we were talking about stories, I think what's fun about being on set, you're together for like 7-8 hours. And usually most of us business owners, I've actually not really, you and I were both joking how relaxing it is being on a photo set. Like from now on, like I will always block out my schedule for photo shoots and just stay at the house. Cause I find myself like, I don't even want to go to the office. I just want, just like your employees want to come visit you. Like I just want to stay at Mysa Hus. And, but where I was going with this is, just the ideas talking, the one thing I've always loved about other people, why I love the podcast, getting your points of view. I've talked to a lot of builders around the country as I'm considering like how to price this home.
Right.
I mean, in some ways it's priceless because there's nothing really quite like this. The story, the wellness aspect, what we've created, where it is, like no price is really too high. It's a piece of art. It's living, like Ben Ganjay said today when we were walking about it. He's like, it's living art that you get to experience. Like, how do you put a price on art? Like, I know what the physical thing costs to put it together, but how do you put all the other things that go around with it? And so it's been a very interesting journey as I've wrapped my head around what to do. And spoiler alert, we're not going to announce the price right now. You got to come to the Realtor Open on Wednesday, the 3rd. But anyway, we get so close to it. We get obviously very passionate. But where I was poorly going with this is like Patrick flies all around the country and sometimes even the world shooting homes, Kate style all over. And I was just talking to them and asking them some questions. And Kate had this kind of offhand comment that now, of course, I joke with the team, right, about a book. And it was never on my radar. And now I'm like, I want to do a Mysa Hus book. I would love to do, I don't know what it is or how you do it, but I love this idea that there would be this hardcover book, coffee table book, of the story of what it is, because the story is so compelling. And as other people around the country want to do something along Mysa Hus, we're coming up with a plan to engage with other builders and other people around the country. If someone wants to build this, it doesn't have to be this home, of course, like in Colorado or Jackson Hole or Arizona or New York or wherever they want to build it. Like, we want to come up with a kind of, lack of a better term, the blueprint, to sort of license Mysa Hus and work with other people so that they could build this in their own community. And I have to finish this house first, as you know, and then I need to stop, consider what we've done and figure it out in more detail. But people keep asking me what's next, and I'm too focused on getting across the finish line, which is, 5 days from now. But when I do have some time to breathe, because June's going to be a busy month of meeting people, trying to sell it, entertaining everyone. But I'm very excited for that next process of like, how do we share what we've done in a way? Because everyone will have a little different take on it. And I'm sort of excited for that.
Yeah. I'm curious, is there anything, now that you've experienced the house kind of in its totality, and I think for both, and maybe I'm speaking out of place here, but I think for both of us being able to see Mysa Hus to fruition kind of smooths a little bit of some of those edges that might have happened during the project. Is there anything that you would have like on this side of things, like, no, 100% next time I'm doing that differently?
It's funny. No, I think 2 weeks ago, you and I had a list of about 20 things we would have done differently.
100%.
And we will for a future episode, because I think it'd be helpful for you and I to sort of do, a lot of builders do post-op, we sit down with our team, and it's more about how you build a better mousetrap. How do you do it better? Mysa Hus isn't perfect. There's
Correct.
100 things that are imperfect. That's also what makes it Mysa Hus. And the story behind it is so strong and so powerful that even in its error, it's still right, because it is what it is, right? It's like the imperfections of a human, of your kids or of ourselves or personalities. And so the fact that this inanimate object can take on a personality, in that even the neighbors refer to it as Mysa, like, oh, Mysa, how's Mysa doing?
That's so cute.
To me, it's like a little 11-year-old girl from Norway.
Yeah.
Oh, Mysa, or Sweden, if you rather. But no, I think I think I'm already starting to get rose-colored glasses on. And I know 30 days from now, 60 days from now, you look back, and even the people, but like when you are in it, like, oh man, this didn't go right. This didn't go. It's like we've talked about the Mysa curse.
The Mysa curse.
Like, I have never worked on a house that has required this much energy, effort, struggle. It doesn't mean it hasn't been worth it.
Oh yeah.
But it has been hard.
It's been really hard.
Really hard.
Yeah.
If you're looking to level up your business in 2026 and beyond, the Contractor Coalition Summit is the place for you. If you've been a listener to the show, you know that this has been the single biggest factor in how I've leveled up over the last couple of years. It's had a huge, profound impact on my business, my personal life. It's what helped me launch the Curious Builder, in fact. Our second event of the year is a little change. September 15th in Minneapolis, we are doing a one-day event. So for the last 4 years, we've always done 3-day events, sometimes 4-day events. And we wanted to recognize that it's a significant investment in yourself, which is definitely worth every penny. I've talked many, many times about that. But for some people, it's just out of reach. So we wanted to do a 1-day crash course event. Obviously, we can't cover all that we can cover in a 4-day event, but this will be a major, major upgrade to whatever you are doing if you haven't been to one. So that'll be September 15th in Minneapolis. And then our last one of the season will be another 3-4-day event in Charlotte, North Carolina. All the details can be found at contractorcoalitionsummit.com. I didn't know this, but man, am I glad I picked you as my partner on this. I think I told you the other day when we were sitting at didn't I say something like
Yeah, and I think you were afraid that I was going to be like, thank you, I don't feel the same.
Because I said something basically in short was like, I'm so thankful that I picked you to do this, and I wanted you to know how thankful I was. And I am.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about Carl. Really the three of us, and Kate, obviously Kate has a huge part to play in this.
Huge part, yeah.
And so just because it's so special. And I think as you get past all the things you would, once you, going back to why I said that, is when you're in the struggle, knowing that you're with people you trust. There's many times where you called me or sent me a text saying, Mark, I think your tone was inappropriate, or this message.
Many times might be a stretch.
Okay, like twice. I think it was twice. I can't remember what it is, but it was something. And I called you and I apologized and I said, I'm so sorry. That was not the intent of what I was trying. But the reason I'm saying is, I'm glad you felt comfortable enough in our relationship that you could correct me or bring it to my attention. Yeah. And then 2, knowing that like I care about you deeply as a person, and Kate as well. Yeah. And all the people on the team. And when not tempers run high, but when it's stressful, like things break, like when the boiler is under a lot of pressure, like rivets fly.
Yeah.
And so, but then understanding like when you're through it, you're like, okay, if anyone out there is going to do something like this, or honestly any house, pick people you care about, because it'll guide you through the storms in a way that you couldn't predict any other way. Because there's a number of points in this journey where people could have thrown up the white flag and quit. And there were were times
we were on the border of that.
Yeah. If for whatever reason, we'll talk about that at the future episode.
Yeah.
To unpack that more.
Yeah.
But communication, trust, and then letting it go.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people can't let it go, and they hold on to it, and like, no, you got to let it go.
Yeah. I think that's something it has given me and I think due to our relationship, obviously you and I have other projects. We're going to work with other people. That's how it goes. But it has given me such empathy for the build side of things, because I've never had this kind of relationship with a builder, and you and I walked into this with a friendship. But coming to this side of it, I see more of why the stress points of what might not feel stressful for me, but feels very stressful for you. And I have a lot more empathy and a lot more, I think next time, doing this with other builders, doing it with you again, like I can pre-plan ways to help them not fall into a pit of stress that I can help prevent. Now, there's going to be things that are going to happen that I can't prevent. But like having that extra set of like, I understand you as a human. I see you as a friend. I see you stressed. I know I could have stopped that from happening with like one quick email. Like that, those are things that to me will carry us through and further improve our process for future projects with you and with other people too, which I think is kind of been a beautiful blessing of the Mysa curse.
I 100% agree. I think it's also, I've kind of had this rule of 3s for a long time, that if I work with a new architect or a new designer, a new painter, Ryan,
we love you, Ryan.
We love you. I need to do 3 projects with them, because you don't know if the first one, if it went really great, is that all of them? If it went really bad, do they get redemption? Like, I feel like you have to do it a few times, and then you get to really know people. And someone asked me the other day, we were interviewing for a job, and they love the fact that a lot of my guys have been with me for more than a decade.
Yeah.
And he said on our last experience, we had a lot of people that our builder had never worked with before. And so I explained the story to him that it's not that I'm not open to working with new people. I think this was asked at the Midwest Design Conference, like how do builders get to work with designers like you, or designers work with builders like me, things like that. Yeah. And it's not that we don't want to work with, but like, for instance, this relationship that we have, like if it falls in line with your schedule, my schedule, the client and the design, like I'd be hard pressed to choose somebody else. Yeah. But those are 3 Venn diagrams that could change. Yeah. Not every project will be with me, and not every project will be with you, and that's totally fine. But like understanding that you have to try it a few times to build that relationship. It does take time. It does take work. It's not going to be perfect on the first time. So I think when you're looking at experienced people you want to work with, architects, designers, builders, understand that it's going to take some time to get in and if you also maybe go with someone that isn't, high up on the mountaintop. Yeah. You can make your own relationship and grow together. Yeah. And there are plenty of subcontractors that would love to do our work. And I'm grateful that they do. But a lot of it is like, I kind of want to go into battle with people I know and trust because they can cover my gaps. Mm-hmm. And then I can I build a better project, better home. That being said, I told this homeowner, like, there will be someone that works in your home that we haven't worked with before, likely. Yeah. But I will always tell the homeowner, that's my new rule. If I bring someone in that I haven't worked with before, I will tell the owner, I'll say, hey, Melissa, we're gonna work with this, this countertop company, for instance, we haven't worked with before, and here's the reason why. I want you to know as the homeowner, this is why we're doing it. And are you okay with it? If you're not, we will go with the person that we have been working with for the last 5-6 years. Now, usually it's because of price. Yeah. Or it might be availability. Like in framing, sometimes you might miss a gap. Like, hey, it might be 6 months to wait for that framer that you really like. Yeah. We can't wait 6 months. You have to have multiple relationships. But I don't know, how do you view continuity with some of your vendor partners? Well,
I mean, it's hard for us because we do projects all over the country. That's a good point. And so often, we're walking into new situations.
All the time.
But I love that thought process because of, working with someone 3 times, because I do think you're right that there is that element of, if we were to have this, the Mysa curse or a cursed project, and we joke about it, but it has been very, very challenging. And so if we were to have that experience and you and I didn't have a previous relationship, I'd probably walk away thinking like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if we can do another project with that builder because like things just went so wrong. And of course, it literally went wrong on our end. It went wrong on your end. It went wrong on trades ends. Like there was no one cause of wrongness, but I probably would have walked away without that previous relationship being like, I don't know if I want to do another project with that builder. I think doing another project together will give us a lot more, and maybe 2 more projects together will give us a lot more insight. But the reality is, even with all of that cursed nature, it still produced an impeccable project that we are both so incredibly proud of. And I think that is a testament, to all the people you brought together, but I think the dedication that each person had to that project. And I think that speaks just, not to toot your own horn, but like that speaks to you a lot as a builder, because you had to carry the enthusiasm of the project through in more ways than one.
I think with the word that comes, and I don't think about it that often, but like leadership. I think we're leaders of our companies sometimes without, I know I'm a leader, you're a leader, but it's not like I wake up in the morning and say like, I'm going to be a leader. Like, I don't think most leaders do that. No. Or if they do, I guess come on the podcast and talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. But where I'm going with this is like, yesterday was a pretty flattering, you probably didn't know the whole story, but like, the 2 plumbers that showed up. Oh. You saw Mitch and
I saw them.
Yeah. So the story by that, and just to further your point here, I couldn't do what I do without phenomenal people behind me. So Mitch is 3rd generation plumber, and I'm a 3rd generation builder of the same family. He, at this point, his family and my family are the longest relationship bound. It's over 30, 45 years between the 3 generations that we've worked together. And Mitch is probably in his early 30s now, right? And so for the rest of my career, he will likely be my plumber. And anyway, long story short, we had a system issue. We needed to turn our outside spigots because we have really high iron, which is rust. And the water's interacting with the black siding, which is turning it orange, which neither you or I want our black siding to be orange.
Sure didn't.
It sure didn't. And so I called Rick, Mitch's, his dad, who's in the office, and I said, I need to change this as soon as possible. And he's like, I'm really busy. And I said, no, I get that. But I said, it's damaging our siding and I can't put it on the stone. It'll turn it rust color. Like I need to deal with it. It's fine. We have a bunch of events next week. Could you at least have it done by the end of next week? He says, let me look at my schedule. I'll get back. I didn't even know he was coming. 1 hour later, I came to the house because I came back to the office here to deal with something. I go to Mysa Hus, and Mitch and his other coworker, I can't blank on his name, came up out of the basement. I said, Mitch, you're already here? He's like, yeah. He goes,
and I already did it.
And I already did it.
Yeah.
And it took us an hour drive. So what happened was Rick called Mitch after my phone call and said, I know pulled him off a job, whatever job he was on, and said, I need you to drive down to Cottagewood, fix this, and come back. So that would have cost him 3 hours, an hour to drive, an hour to go back. That's 2 hours plus however long it took him. And so then I joke because you had delivered. If you ever work on a photo shoot with Melissa, come hungry because she feeds you really well. So do I. But you had chocolate covered strawberries, and like you always do snacks around 3-4 o'clock, like cookies and your Diet Cokes and everything else. But you had chocolate covered strawberries. I just thought it was such a ridiculous parody that I'm like, hey, Mitch, has any builder ever offered you chocolate covered strawberries on a job? They weren't even mine. I was giving yours away.
I'm glad you did.
And he goes, I mean, no, but he goes, to be fair, you do a lot of things that no other builder does.
It's accurate.
It's always is very accurate. But anyway, what I really say is like, you can't put a price on that.
No.
And nor would you want to.
No.
And they're not going to charge me anything for it. In fact, I bet he won't even charge me. He's doing it because he cares about me as a person. Mm-hmm. He cares about what we're trying to do. That is a relationship. And when you explain that to a homeowner, why you work with the people you work with, it's not about price. Value is a part of it, but it's a relationship that it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
It's people that show up for you in a way that's flattering. And I don't know if you ever feel that. Sometimes I feel like a hypocrite when I think like, would I do that for Mitch? I don't know the answer. I hope the answer would be yes.
Yeah.
I hope that if he called me and needed my help, I would be there. And I think I would.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for us to ask ourselves that question.
Yeah.
Just gave myself goosebumps.
I love that. I candidly, like, we were in the house last week with, we were with the electrician team, the painting team, plaster was there. Gosh, there were definitely
100 people.
There were a lot of people, but I distinctly remember we were all sitting, like our team, we were just sitting eating lunch, and I think the electricians were eating lunch at the same time, and we were all just kind of sitting there chatting and just having, and at the end of the, like 2 days later, Kate gets a text from Luke just being like, hey, we just really enjoyed being around your team. And Kate was like, same, like we had such a good time. And that's the environment that does not often get created, like said from experience. Like that is not something that we get on every project. And when we do get it, it's such a delight to have those moments where you have the electricians being like, okay, maybe I hated installing these lights, but they're really cool lights. Or your plumbing team, Mitch, like when they were installing the primary bathroom fixtures, he was like, these are really nice fixtures. And they are, and they're very nice fixtures, but it's really fun to see the trades be excited about the design, but also just have so much camaraderie for the project and love for the project. And I honestly, that will go down in my memory as kind of a core memory for Mysa, is just the experience of getting to sit around all the trades that we don't usually get to just sit and hang with, and like having a really good time together.
You know what's funny about that? Food.
Yeah.
And I think since Angie's joined my team about a year and a half ago, she's been just amazing blessing. I call her my little unicorn because she can do everything. But part of it is just having people. And what I'm about to say is not rocket science, but it's thoughtful and it's care. We supply food on our job sites almost weekly, but on Mysa Hus, it was like daily. And the electricians and I think the plumbers are like, we've never been so well fed on a job in our whole life. Like, we're catering in Chipotle. We've got Jimmy John's. We've got Chick-fil-A. We've got, whatever.
Yeah.
And all I knew is, because my skill set, as you know, is not actually physically doing the things on the house. That's not my skill set. Never has been. It's also not an interest of mine. But what can I do? I just know that if people are fed, you can show that you care. So I do a lot of swag, give away a lot of stuff. And then two, I try to feed people a lot. And on the last 3 weeks of Mysa Hus, I bet we had food 3 to 4 days a week at the house constantly.
Yeah, there's food in fridge. Like we found the Chick-fil-A in the lower level fridge yesterday. We're like, is this from last week? We don't know.
But I think it matters. I think
100%.
people realize that, like, you care about them, because we're asking them to work hard.
Yeah.
Because you can't make this deadline. I'm not even gonna say how fast we built this house, because I don't ever want to build a house this fast again.
Don't do it.
It was so hard. But it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why you do it and who you do it with matters a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I agree.
Well, we've got 4 minutes left to hit exactly at an hour. You agreed to do this podcast. Be like, Mark, you and I can't talk for 2 hours.
We got to get back to site.
We got to get back inside with who knows what they've done without us. What?
Probably better. Probably faster job than when we were there.
That's probably when we're not there overseeing.
The quotation marks.
I know.
For anyone who's not watching,
yes.
there definitely were air quotes.
Air quotes. A little humor. What is trying to think of a good parting thought. You got anything that would be of interest? Trying to think of what would be.
A lot of pressure.
I know there's a lot of pressure. Okay, I know. Have you given thought to the couple that buys the home, or whoever buys the home? Could be a single person, whatever. What? I kind of want to like meet them and almost have like a meal with them in the house.
I do too.
I think that'd be appropriate, wouldn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
It's
It's almost like, are you giving up a kid for adoption and be like, but while this child is going to live with you, we would like to have one more meal with our child.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair request, obviously at their discretion, but I think a lot about, we think a lot about our clients when we're designing, and that, you and I talked about it. It's been one of the more challenging things of this house is that we don't have, you have been our prototype for all of the decisions that we're making. And so when we're thinking about like, do you play golf on the weekends? Do do we have to have storage for hockey? Like all of those questions, I want to sit down with them and kind of say, what are the functional needs of your life? Because like, can I help you navigate what we have done at Mysa to serve your life in that way? Like that's where I come from. Like
mine was a little more whimsical, and mine was more like, I want to have dinner there. But I would love it if for you, Carl, and Kate and I to sit down and have a meal catered or have it cooked in their kitchen, and just have them hear from us and for us to tell the story. The one thing that's difficult about a spec home and a story home like this is that they're seeing the end product, but they didn't actually experience all that we experienced. And maybe it doesn't matter to them. I think it will, though. I think someone that buys this home is deeply interested in the why and the story, because I look at all the people that interact with us on social media or reach out to us. I mean, we have a 30-person list that have reached out through our email, through our website, asking for one-to-one tours. Now, not all of them are buyers, but they have been following this and they deeply want to know what's happening. So I think the curiosity is very high. And so I think I'd be very surprised. I'll offer it. I'd be very surprised if they didn't want it. Just because I feel like someone who's attracted to this type of home is going to I would want to know why. Yeah. I would want to know about all the thought that went into it and hear the stories. Yeah. And I have two, people that are very seriously interested in the home. I've sent them the Jude Charles podcast where I talked for an hour and a half. Yeah. I said, rather than me redoing this again and you giving me an hour and a half of your time, you listen to this when you're walking the dog or whatever. Yeah. If you're interested, great. If you're not, don't worry about it. But it might help you understand some of the intent. I'll be very curious when they tour the house if they've actually listened to it or not.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. I can't wait to hear.
Me too. Thank you for your time coming on.
Always.
We will have Monday episodes. Otherwise, Thursdays are 20 minutes. Losers are winners. The story of the scar. And thanks for tuning in to the Curious Builder podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Curious Builder podcast. If you like this episode, do us a favor. Share it with 3 other business owners. The best way that we can spread what we're doing is by word of mouth. And with your help, we can continue to help other curious builders expand their business. Please share it with your friends, like and review online, and thanks again for tuning in.